in brand new statements. I have your gates and open. Check it out, y'all. Now let's see. Y'all try and see. Art Avenger, let's start the adventure. Picture, nerve gas, and serve blast, crash the spacecraft.
Hi, and welcome to 2K Sports Studios. I'm Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg. We're here with 2K Sports NCAA Selection Show. We're all set to show you the seeding and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. Before we get into the brackets for the upcoming tournament, let's take a look at the final top 25 media polls. There's at least one change in the rankings to tell you about. The Clemson Tigers jumped all the way from the number 13 spot to number 7.
They're peaking at just the right time, Greg. This is exactly the way you want to be playing going into the tournament.
The media rankings are what everyone's been following for the last 4 months. But in just a minute, the selection committee's opinion is going to be the only one that matters. Now let's take a look at the NCAA Tournament bubble and see which teams are sitting at home with their fingers crossed, hoping to see their name in the brackets. There are a lot of worthy candidates among these 10 teams. Clark, which of these bubble teams stands out to you right now?
Illinois Chicago isn't among the very strongest of the non-power conference teams, but they're pretty close. I'm sure they were hoping for a better showing at their conference tournament. Now it's sit and wait time.
And we have a few more teams in similar position, right, Clark?
St. Louis could have sealed their invitation with a better regular season finish, but the fact is they play in a very tough conference, and that does weigh heavily in their favor.
I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but the wait's almost over. The NCAA Selection Committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The Tennessee Volunteers are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Region. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the South
baby!
Region.
We got the top seed in the South!
First ever NCAA championship. The Marquette Golden Eagles are our third number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our fourth number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Washington State Cougars are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the first time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the East Regional will play the winner of the South Regional. In the other semifinal games, the winner of the Midwest Regional will play the winner of the West Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, April 5th. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April 7th. Anything shocking to you about those picks?
I don't think I'm alone in my surprise with these picks. Whenever you reach this far down the poll for the top seed, you're guaranteed to have some second guesses coming your way.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the bracket. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. The Tennessee Volunteers are the top seed, finishing at 31-2. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the SEC. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between North Carolina A&T with 13 wins and Chattanooga from the Southern Conference. And now the number 8 seed, the North Carolina State Wolfpack, come into the tournament on the strength of an 8th place finish in their conference regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Butler Bulldogs, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 23-9. Auburn comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 19-9. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Mountain West Conference, the Wyoming Cowboys, with 22 wins. Baylor enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Big 12. This will be their 5th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Montana Grizzlies, who finished the season with 22 wins.
The Baylor Bears are a team that is just so powerful and strong up front. I would put their front court up against just about any other teams in the nation right now. It's always good to have strong guard play, but if you ask most coaches, I guarantee you they take the good big man over the good little man most times. Their interior play should serve them very well in this competition.
The Indiana Hoosiers are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Lafayette Leopards, with 21 wins. UAB comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 28-6. High Point comes in to face them at number 14 with 15 wins in the tournament championship of the Big South. Our number 7 seed from the Big East, the Louisville Cardinals, were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the West Virginia Mountaineers, who finished second in their conference tournament, finishing at 20-14. Next up is the number 2 seed. The Kansas Jayhawks are the regular season champions from the Big 12. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the Albany Great Danes, with 18 wins. This is their 3rd appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. What a tremendous regional final we have in this bracket. The number 1 and 2 seeds here make it through the first 3 rounds unscathed. That could be one of the games of the tournament. Next up, we'll take a look at the South Regional. The Towson Tigers are the top seed, finishing at 30-2. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Colonial Athletic Association. They'll take on the Marist Red Foxes, the number 16 ranked team. This is their 3rd appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Rhode Island comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 23-10. George Washington comes in to face them at number 9 with 17 wins and a chance to prove they're right where they belong among the top 65 teams in the nation. Arkansas enters the field as the number 5 seed from the SEC. This is their 30th appearance to the NCAA tournament in school history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed. The Houston Cougars finished the season with 23 wins.
The Arkansas Razorbacks are going to provide serious matchup problems to any team that doesn't have depth and defensive ability at both guard spots. They have outstanding backcourt play at both ends of the court. It's the main reason they've made it this far. They're going to have to maintain that form if they want to do some damage in this tournament.
Xavier comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 24-10. They'll take on the 13th seed from the Ivy League, the Columbia Lions, with 18 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Akron Zips, come into the tournament after finishing second in their conference during the regular season and finished second in their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Duquesne Dukes, who finished second in their conference tournament, finishing at 22-11. The Western Michigan Broncos are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Wisconsin Badgers, with 18 wins. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Aggies of Texas A&M are the conference tournament champions from the Big 12. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Texas Longhorns, with 21 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Our number 2 seed is from the ACC. The Florida State Seminoles have a tremendous year that included a regular season championship. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Bradley Braves, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 17-16. Answer the first question every selection Sunday: which is the toughest bracket? Well, this bracket looks to me like it wins that prize this year. Not only are the top seeds strong, the lower seeds can be dangerous as well. On to our 3rd bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the Midwest region. The Marquette Golden Eagles are the top seed, finishing at 25-5. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Big East. They'll take on the Alcorn State Braves, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their 7th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Our number 8 seed is from the ACC. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Game. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Winthrop Eagles, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 21-7. The North Carolina Tar Heels are in as the number 5 seed. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed, the East Tennessee State Buccaneers, with 23 wins. Michigan State enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Big 10. This marks their 22nd appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Fairleigh Dickinson Knights, finished the season with 18 wins.
The Michigan State Spartans are a team I love watching play. They've been one of the highest scoring teams in the country, and I don't see any reason for them to slow down during the tournament. If they can dictate the tempo of the game and force the other team to run with them, they are very hard to deal with. I wouldn't put it past these guys to make a run this year.
George Mason comes in as the number 6 seed, finishing at 22-9. And they take on the 11th seed from the Big 12, the Kansas State Wildcats, with 17 wins. And now the number 3 seed, the Arizona Wildcats, come into the tournament on the strength of a third-place finish in their conference regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Lamar Cardinals, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 18-10. Next up is the number 7 seed, the James Madison Dukes, have established themselves as one of the best teams from the Colonial Athletic Association. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Memphis Tigers, with 22 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA Tournament. UCLA comes in as the number 2 seed, finishing at 25-7. Louisiana Lafayette comes in to face them at number 15 with 16 wins. The tournament championship of the Sun Belt Conference. This bracket has the potential to give us a sensational matchup in the regional final if everything goes according to form and the top 2 seeds can survive the early round. And finally, let's have a look at the West Regional. The Washington State Cougars are the top seed, finishing at 27-6. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Pac-10. They'll take on the Mustangs of Cal Poly, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. Next up is the number 8 seed, the Fordham Rams, have established themselves as one of the best teams from the A-10 conference. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the Sacred Heart Pioneers, with 24 wins. This marks their first appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Duke comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 19-11. And they will take on the 12th seed from the West Coast Conference, the St. Mary's Gales, with 21 wins. Pittsburgh comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 21-10. Oral Roberts comes in to face them at number 13 with 20 wins in the tournament championship of the conference. Our number 6 seed is from the Big East. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Fresno State Bulldogs, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 24-7. Georgetown Hoyas are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Governors of Austin Peay, with 22 wins. And now the number 7 seed, the Villanova Wildcats, come into the tournament 5th in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Alabama Crimson Tide, who were 8th in their conference, finishing at 18-14. Clemson entered the field as the number 2 seed from the ACC. This will be their 8th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed, the Bucknell Bison, who finished the season with 14 wins.
The Clemson Tigers will be an extremely dangerous team in this tournament, mainly because they have such terrific veteran leadership. Coaches love when they have guys on the floor that have been around the block a few times because they don't get rattled. They play with composure. I look at the experience of this team as something that can put them over the top.
Some of the lower seeds in this bracket have the ability to not only compete with the high seeds, but win a few games. The potential for a Cinderella or 2 in this bracket is definitely there. Clark, how do you view this year's top 16?
There are no real off-the-wall picks that jump out at me. These 16 teams are all pretty deserving. Let's give the committee some props this year. Washington State is the softest of the top seeds. I'm not going to say exactly when they'll go down, but if I had to pick a number 1 team that won't be at the Final Four, it would be them.
Now, let's bring the conference picture into focus. The Big East gets 7 teams. The ACC with 6. 5 out of the Big 12. The A-10 gets 5 teams.
You got to take your hat off to the teams in the Colonial Athletic Association. They top the non-power conferences with the number of bids they got, and it shows you how far this conference has come. They're becoming dominant at that level.
And let's not forget the teams out of the Northeast Conference. For a small conference, they competed at a very high level this year. Those teams could be the place to look if you're trying to find a Cinderella story in the tournament.
I'm surprised there were so few bids for the teams in the Mountain West Conference. It was an especially disappointing year for that conference. Usually you can count on a few of the nation's elite teams coming out of there. But this was a season where very few of those teams could maintain any type of positive momentum.
We showed you the bubble teams before. form. Now that we know who's in and who's out, what do you think of the selections, Clark?
Kansas State did the right thing by scheduling a very difficult slate of games this year. Sure, it might have resulted in a few more losses than they wanted, but their strength of schedule is what got them in the tournament.
While they start prepping for their first-round game, 5 teams on the other side of the page will be full-time students again.
Cal just didn't do enough in the latter part of the season to warrant that bid. It's really too bad because I like a lot of the things they bring to the table, but I have no doubt they'll be back next year.
Thanks, Clark. I'm sure that this year will provide us with all the thrills and excitement that we've come to expect from the tournament.
Greg, it's going to be a fantastic tournament. We got an outstanding field and a lot of sensational players. I guarantee there are some memorable moments soon to come.
For my partner Clark Kellogg and for all of us here in the 2K Sports Studios, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us on the NCAA Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy all the excitement of the NCAA tournament.
Wow.